not little, but you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Why people care about them so little,
Yeah.
and why barely anyone's a Rail fan. Well, because they aren't a part of our life anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a big thing because they're not transporting us.
So
Only heritage railways have passenger cars anymore, and Amtrak is shit. It's
yeah.
not
Before
worth
I
it.
need
So we've me and uh, Foam were talking about this, and we kind of found like a compromise, at least for us, because I did look it up on the internet, and in the 1940s, in this time period where this game is supposed to take place, they did run from 75 to 100 car trains, and I found a way to
You
compromise.
mean 40 to 75?
Is that what the picture
It was
said?
40 car. It was 40 to 75. Yes, and that's at 40 to 75. Sorry, 40 to 65 mile an hour.
Ah,
something must not be right with mine.
all right. But anyways, we found a compromise for it. Everything east of Bryson, from Ella all the way to Silva, is going to be the way how I envisioned it with the PSR type schedule, because there's a mod that allows double track main, basically from Ella all the way to Silva interchange, and that's how my like my version of it, and everything west of Bryson is going to be kind of like how Foam wants it, because the track out there is so tight and the grades are ridiculously steep, especially red marble, to say the least. And we've kind of came up with the compromise of, all right, we can do it kind of like how railroading is now, but we can also do it how railroading is back then, if you guys get what I'm saying.
I don't know. I need phone to look at my screen.
Here, Foam, can you help him out real fast? Eh.
If he's here.
Yeah, he's here. He's just muted. But
I'm looking.
the the most important thing right now is that I want to make sure everyone has a good time. Like, I don't want people to, because I don't want to be one of those like jerks. Because I even it's like my server. This is how I'm wanting it, and we're doing it my way and all that. Because you all are allowed your opinion. Because this is how we're running the railroad. Because we're all having a really good time. Uh,
Yeah, that's the issue I'm having.
mhm. Yeah. So my next thing is especially for Ash, because he does the Whittier. Ash, since you handle like Whittier and kind of like the
What is
interchange.
that? I see the problem. It seems like you might have mods that are interfering.
Mhm.
Downloaded everything from his and just dragged and dropped for this folder.
I'll send you
Because
the
I
updated
had,
one.
yeah, please.
Yeah, but
I should already
anyways,
have my
yeah.
emails.
So anyways, how the future of the YNA is going to be going is I want everyone to have a good time, and if you have any questions about mod, I want you to ping Foam about it. But Ash, right now you mentioned something to me about how East Whittier Yard is and with trains coming and going and interchange and all that. Would you want to touch up on that?
Look, if I can try to remember when I was talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Peekaboo!
Oh, hey Logan.
Can you kind of remember exactly what I was talking about when I
Uh,
brought that up to you last
I think
night?
it was something about like the super long trains coming into the yard and messing with you or something like that.
It's morally just so obviously it's mainly just when all you got all these locomotives, and actually most of any time when there's more players around one area, the game lags its ass off.
Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking like from now on, with that being said, we have
Which
it. Go ahead.
I don't mind. I don't mind. Like I actually like what I can do,
Mm-hmm.
especially being able to just do my do my moves and have the freedom to run trains shunt and run trains from Whittier to Silva.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, with my little fleet, I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. But like I said, there's obviously, if there's other things to do on this line, you can do them. Just you need to give me time, because especially with the fact with the fucking sugar mill, that eats up a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. And another
And when
thing.
I'm like,
Go
and
ahead.
I'm telling you, I'm like, oh, dude, I'm halfway done. And I tell you, wait until I get everything moved out of the way before you bring in another train. Because there are times where it's like, oh, the yard is a clusterfuck, and the last thing I need is a big ass fucking train blocking my path, fucking blocking places I need to be.
Mm-hmm. All right. So with
Which,
that,
I mean, anything, yeah, it's fine. It's all fine though.
so with that
Not a
being
big issue.
said, for trains coming out of at least the Whittier.
Hey, masked.
Hold on one moment. Let me finish my statement before I forget it.
I
So with that being said, the since we got the double track mod for at
It's
least
just
all the way
us
to
going.
Ella, trains coming from like Bryson,
Yeah,
especially the
like a
long heavy
Walmart.
freight trains,
Just like a
take
couple of
the
things.
second main to Whittier and they sit there
Walmart.
until they get the
So
all
you got
clear from Ash. Does that sound good for
well,
everyone?
I basically, I just have, you ever have to fucking run
So,
in the store? I
anyways,
just have to run in
what
the
you were
store.
saying?
What I was gonna say is I have I have an answer to his problem.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, really quick. Never mind. He deleted it already.
Let me know when you're ready
Anyhow,
to go.
You want me to
so
respawn it? Do it again?
yes. So, Mr. Ash, I actually have a little bit of an idea for you, right? If you really need if you're really having problems where that is well, in fact a problem, what sounds like needs to happen is we need another person working Whittier. Because if we're getting to the point where it's extremely hard to get all of the work finished, right, by yourself,
Oh,
that
dude, no,
sounds like you need a second
it's
person.
not a fucking, it's not an issue about it. I'm just saying, hey, I can work, dude. I can work ES&D fast. It's
Yeah.
even when I'm working
Now keep the tender,
ES&D
keep the tender, keep
fast.
the damn it.
I can work ES&D fast, and yet somebody. But it also is kind of an issue when it's only just us two on the server.
Yeah.
But I also gotta say this. That's why I'm trying to find more people for us because I can't be here all the time, just like anyone else can't. Uh, I have obviously Ash. Yes, I watched the Minecraft movie. Wow, cool. That's not me being busy. I have other things in my life that I'm doing. I apologize to everyone that's in here that does play the server frequently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on all the time.
Hey, keep
It is
the
extremely
tender.
hard for me to be on the time. Yes, keep the tender.
Yeah.
I apologize. I'm not good at being able to stay on time all the time when, well, I'm trying to not just get my stuff in line, but again, there's a whole lot of stuff going on in the background that I'm not going to really talk about here.
I gotta
Um,
go.
so yeah, just before people get mad at me for not being on the server enough, there's your reasoning. Second thing, re-rail the tender and then try to push it back. I want to see if you can couple up to it with another engine.
The main thing that I want to also
It
mention.
won't, because where it is. Because it's right
Yeah,
here
because
at the edge.
that doesn't count as a yes. It's because you don't your strange customs is messed up.
And I just downloaded the new one.
Okay, rail loader. Then that could be another problem. Or what seems like to me, you've got another mod pack that's interfering.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing I can think of, delete all the mods that are in this folder and just re-download them once I get the updated one from Mass.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see if that helps it. If that doesn't help it, come back to me about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
So
back to mute and I'm listening, but I'm playing my guitar.
yeah. So long story short, I do feel like another big issue is communication that we need to establish a little bit more. for those of you who are also watching my live stream, the Discord server will be posted in the description once I
You're live?
mess around with it.
Oh.
The most important thing that I feel like we need to establish is one, you can't always get what you want, and we're starting to get to the point where a actual chain of command is going to be set up. Uh, Logan, you worked on the WVS and your board of directors. Do you have any suggestions or stuff that you want to add in on this?
I mean, uh, with chain of command and stuff like that, it's very difficult. Just because not, it's nice to have because you can just message in Discord for like that rank or that person,
Mm-hmm.
but like don't get me wrong, it's nice to have it, but if they're not on, then it becomes an issue. So with what I'm saying, like with this is you guys are off like more and off more or less probably want to have a board of directors or a board of governors, one
Mm-hmm.
of the two, whatever you decide to call it. Next, those people are basically your all's own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for people that play in my server, we're the board of directors,
Yeah.
and people know that. I basically mention it every post.
Mm-hmm.
Now, underneath of that, you have your yard master, or no, actually, scratch that. It would be your train masters, the next person down the line. Those people manage one specific area of track. So, with that being said, they don't manage yards; they manage track. So, all like any of the maintenance and anything like that, you would go to yard masters for,
Mm-hmm.
or train master, because they control trackage. Now, underneath of them would be your dispatchers. Your dispatchers control any and all movement on the main line. Now, with that, underneath your dispatchers are your yard masters. Now, your yard masters would be people like Ash and people that can control specific yards.
Mm-hmm.
The yard masters, dispatchers, and train masters, those three people need to have the utmost communication so they can work with each other and so yards aren't getting so full.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what separates a good railroad and a bad railroad is the
Mm-hmm.
communication between the train masters, the dispatchers, and the yard master. Now you can have empty yards all the time, but if you don't have communications between the yard masters, train masters, and the dispatcher, you won't have anything. Because to be completely honest, train masters are what tell yard crews take what trains to where.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it. Matt, I've got to step away for a minute.
Okay. But anyways, so yeah, so that's like one major thing we need to start enforcing more is communication is everything. We have to talk with each other. We have to, since we're still real small and we don't have a whole lot of people. Um, Foam, I know you said you wanted to take control over Bryson. Is that correct? give you a moment.
You're
All right. All right. So Ash has Whittier, and Foam has Bryson. Baker, you said you basically.
Hey, by the way, so something else that I kind of wanted to point out real quick, Mask.
Mm-hmm.
So how exactly are we doing recruitment? Are we doing recruitments or are we just not?
Like, what do you mean?
Because are we recruiting people onto the railroad?
Like,
Because I was just thinking about that. We haven't actually gotten many people in here, and you just said it yourself that we're having a people problem.
yeah.
Yes. So that's why we need more people, right?
Yeah.
So what are we going to be putting forth to actually be doing something for that? Getting more people in here.
Well, the first thing that I could probably think about is probably ask our friends that actually own the game if they would be willing to join a modded railroad server, because that's the main thing I've noticed with a whole lot of servers in Railroader. People really don't want to join a modded server a whole lot.
Okay, really quick. Do you want me to be real, or do you want me to just say what's going to be more culturally appropriate right now?
Say what you want to say.
Yeah, it's because most of those fucking people are lazy or don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Which is where I would like to be able to help them. The problem is a lot of people don't want to put forth the effort to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a factually correct statement, and you heard it here first, folks, in the live stream. Like, that is an actual factual correct statement. But our main issue, if you do have an issue with mods, please ping Codename Foam, because he is the modding director. He's the reason why we have all the mods on the Youngstown Alliance Railroad as of today. The most important thing I feel like we should also mention is, like how he said, the passenger service and the freight service. It's going to come down to the point where eventually, in the near future, we're going to have timetables set up so that way we can time, at least for the dispatcher, to time trains where they're at, especially over in the area where there's not going to be a whole lot of double track. Unlike from Ella to Silva, that's going to be double track. If the train's super long or something like that, they could just take the second main line to bypass a passenger train or bypass a local or something like that.
All right, I'm back.
All right. The next thing that I feel like probably should be mentioned is the express freight and the express passenger train. Those are the most highest priority train that don't stop for nothing. Like Foam, if you want to explain the express freight and the express passengers a little bit more, because that was your idea to have them set up as the highest priority.
Okay, so I'm going to explain it in a way that everyone here will understand. So, as we do have a chain of command, right? Think of a chain of command. You've got everything from a private up to a sergeant, right? If we're talking military. Well, in this case, we're gonna think of it more as that. In the case of trains, so you have express passenger as, hey, get out of my way. This stops for 2 or 3 different places on the map, and maybe a couple more. I don't know just yet. I'm still working on that. Anyhow, you've got, hey, express freight and passenger. Express freight, keep in mind, will not have. Okay, how about this? I'm going to explain it like this. Express passenger, 1. 2, you've got express freight. That's that. And then 3rd, you have normal passenger trains. Not anything crazy, just a passenger train. Mixed passenger, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got basic freight. Basic freight, obviously, that's, that's, by the way, do not put express freight and normal freight in the same consist.
Mm-hmm.
Because that won't really work out all that well.
I feel like I should also mention this real quick, Foam. Since Maintenance of Way is coming to the game soon, real fast, where would that be placed as?
What are you talking? Are you just talking about MOW in general?
Yeah, like MOW, because we all saw the announcement on
Okay.
the Steam page. Like that's going to be coming eventually in the future. Where would that? What place would
So
that be
I'm gonna
based?
go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. So MOW right now, if MOW works the way I'm thinking it's gonna work like this. We're gonna have an MOW train, right? Every day in game, every day we'll have speeder cars. We'll have two speeder cars, two people. They'll be heading one out of Bryson to Ella, and then we'll have one going from Whittier to Ella. Once they meet up, they tell each other, "Hey, we're good." They'll once they say they meet, everything like that. This, by the way, this is just talking one section of the railroad. I would like the MOW team to be at least two people, just so we can have, hey, here's two people that are accountable for this stuff, and that is per team. That includes everybody, unless we want to have designated MOW people, which honestly we probably won't.
Yeah.
For the actual MOW train, if something is gone wrong, that train will be heading out of whatever is closest. We'll have an MOW train at all times in Whittier, Bryson, any major terminal, if you will, bigger areas like Silva, Dillsboro,
Really,
Silva, Dillsboro, Whittier, Bryson, Nantahala, Foreshore will have to have one.
and
A couple
Andrews.
other places as we go up. Yeah. Oh, Alarka. Can't forget about Alarka.
I always forget.
So
about
we'll have a set of speeder cars at each place and a MOW train. Um, we are not going to have designated locomotives for MOW. We will have to, if, for example, the MOW train is sitting, let's say, in Whittier, we'll take a locomotive that's just sitting around, not doing anything. That locomotive will be set on MOW. Another cool thing that I probably should go ahead and tell y'all. You cannot move your locomotive until you set your train ID. So train IDs. Each consist, the person that builds the consist will be putting those trains in IDs. Obviously, you have to check up with your dispatcher or your yard master beforehand to let them know, hey, what train is this? Where is it headed? Blah blah. What's its main concept? What does it consist of? What it mostly consists of?
Yeah.
For example, if you're heading eastbound and your destination or the most of your cargo is for Bryson, you'll be B01, right? However, if you've got, for example, your destination is, say, Whittier, right? Whittier, and you're heading out of Bryson, keep that in mind, Whittier 01, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I prefer we didn't stack numbers, but that's kind of a rough explanation of the idea.
Yeah. So, with that also being said,
Oh, and extra trains have to be put under X.
yeah,
X, and then the original train it's supposed to be under, right? X, and then that.
All right. I guess I can follow up with that. Like the coal train that comes out of Kirkland. It's basically a unit train that goes both from Silva to Whittier, and that's how would that work out then? Would it just like drop off its cars for Whittier and then continue on its way to Silva, just consisting of the coal cars, or how do you want that to work out?
The idea is that the shunter will make sure that the trains are set up where if you have cars, for example, if we're looking at the map in Railroader, right? Say you are heading out of Bryson with a loaded train. If you've got cars that need to stop in Ella, right? You're going to head through the passenger area, and at the end, basically right next to all the normal industries in Ella, you'll have to place down those the Ella cars. Then you leave. You don't shut them yourself because you'll have a train behind you. You need to get off the main, get on the main, and get to your next destination. Unless, of course, you're stopping for another train. Any through trains, any trains that do not have any cars for Ella, don't use the passenger main, right? So what am I meaning by that? I'm talking the main that goes on the opposite side of the original track, basically across the road. Use that track if you're heading through Ella, because that unclogs a lot of the problems we'll have in Ella. Anyway, the idea is that we'll have somebody working Kirkland and doing all the shunting in Ella, Um, they'll have a couple locomotives up there. They have to come down here, shunt their cars, and get them off the track. I'm gonna go ahead and say this as well. Cars that are sitting in that siding have priority over anything sitting in your yard at the time. So that is in your jurisdiction of Kirkland, for example. Anything in Kirkland. Oh, that does remind me. Kirkland will also have an MOW team, but it's going to be significantly smaller. They're not going to have their own MOW train. That will have to be brought out from Bryson or Whittier. But anyhow, basically, the cars that sit in that siding, because that is the passenger siding for, picking up, that's the passenger side, whatever. Pick up those cars, those have to be taken off the main so that you're not holding up traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even care if y'all leave those in the siding for Kirkland for a little bit. You can do that if you'd like to, but preferably get them into their designated areas before you go back up to Kirkland.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, that goes for any place that you think actually merges onto the main. Like sidings, for example, keep sidings clear. Do your best to keep sidings clear, of course.
Yeah. Because I know there's like, I think it's
There's a couple more.
yeah. Yeah, another thing that I want to address is the local shunting freight. I have a designated local already set up that I call the L324, and that basically travels to only certain yards, and then it turns back to its original yard for stuff that like the mainline train heading there didn't pick up or hasn't gotten to yet.
Correct. By the way, it wouldn't be a local. That would be an extra train.
Oh, that would be.
If that would be designated as a local, not a local, but a that would be a local would be like, for example, going into Whittier proper to drop off cars there. That is a local.
All right. All right.
Locals are very short traffic trains. For example, extra trains would be basically, hey, your dumbass forgot stuff in Whittier and it needs to be in Bryson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll have to fit in an extra train to get those cars to Bryson, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Obviously, as an extra train. Those would
Yeah.
be, that's where I was designating them X, and then the original train that missed those cars, that would be the extra cars that go with that train. So extra, and then say this train was B-01, right? B-01, but it'd be X, B-01.
All right.
That is an extra train. That train will run in between. That will not be a scheduled train. That train will have to just be brought out when there is a gap in the time and enough of a gap that you can fit it in.
Mm-hmm. The next thing I
So,
feel like should be brought up is that timetables are going to be a thing in the future for when dispatching is a thing. And if you're a dispatcher, you have to keep an eye on the timetable. Because as of right now, I really don't think we're going to set a timetable for the freight service. Because in my mind, that just seems stupid. But we have to
Can
make it's
nope. See, that's something else, Masked. I did want to speak about what
yeah.
you
Go
just
ahead.
said, right? With it doesn't make sense to have a timetabled freight. It does make sense to have a timetabled freight because that keeps people on top of, hey, this train needs to go by here and needs to be here by then, right? Wait, that's basic knowledge, right?
Mm,
However, that's where long trains don't make much sense,
yeah.
right? For example, if you can't make it there on time and be out of the way for the next train that needs to be leaving, you're stopping time. You're stopping people from doing their job.
Yeah.
Shorter trains can move faster, and you know for a fact you can get there before the time stops.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
how
kind of
real railroading should be.
yeah, and that's like where I'm going to put like your idea because mixed in with my idea is that the Whittier side of things, everything east of Bryson, we have that double track. But everything west of Bryson, I checked the map pack. There's like really only single tracks. Like there is some through lines, but it all diverges into a single track. Hence why the shorter trains west of Bryson, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, I'm also gonna go ahead and tell you this. That is because we've only unlocked these areas. I haven't
Yeah.
experimented with any mods anywhere towards Andrews.
Yeah.
So yes, in the future there will be mods like double track mods. There will be a couple through
Hmm.
Bryson to Andrews.
Yeah.
So we cannot say, oh, this is how we can't. Also, by the way, don't be splitting the railroad. That's not even worth it
Hmm.
because then that means okay, the stuff that's, for example, right? You in this case, I've already tried doing this. By the way, who here knows Chirpy? My buddy Chirpy, probably Nathan. No, Mask, you know Chirpy. Me and him split the railroad from Alarka to Andrews for me, and then Alarka to Silva for him. The thing that didn't work was the fact that his trains were like how you want to run it masked.
Hmm.
Long trains, but they took up a lot more time. My trains would get done really quickly and then find out, oh crap, we don't have any more cars to pull, but we have cars still sitting out that need to be brought here from an interchange with another railroad. So
Well, I really
if
wasn't
you're
going to
saying that
split
we
up the
should from
railroad.
Bryson, it's an example. It's not
Yeah.
actually us splitting it, but
Yeah.
with the way you're talking about it, that would be what that's doing. Splitting the railroad where the way I'd run the trains, for example,
Hmm.
multiple shorter trains. And when I say short, I'm not talking 25 cars. I'm
Yeah.
talking 50, 60 car trains,
Yeah.
realistic, not 5 mile long trains that are like 100 some cars.
Yeah. Because
That's long and that's excessively long.
Yeah. Yeah. Because as of right now, the way how I have it set up in my head, there's a unit train that goes directly to Whittier. There's a unit train for Kirkland, one for Bryson, and then one for Andrews and all that other stuff.
By the way, unit train would have been the unit train, right? That would be your express freight traffic. That is
Unit
your express freight traffic.
unit freight manifest whatever. Just saying my point of view of it. But right now, the main thing that we need to get our heads wrapped around is that we need to find a way for one where this is going to work for everyone, and this is the main purpose of this meeting, is for people to throw their ideas out there, and we can come up with a compromise at the end. And
Can I say a few things, Mask?
yeah, go ahead,
Because
Logan.
I know I'm not in your all's railroad, but Mask and Foam can attest to this. I'm very good at what I've done, and I've been very successful.
Mm-hmm.
But it really does sound like y'all need a dispatch. Y'all need a dispatcher badly.
Yeah,
We very much do.
because that's
And
going to be our next thing is signals. But
well, that it's not even just that. A dispatcher does many different things. I know on the WVS, our dispatchers only control signal. That's going to change real soon on WVS. But dispatchers control train crews, tell when to leave, when to go in the yards, where to sit, everything. Dispatchers control the entire railroad for the most part. That's why when I said earlier, dispatchers, yard masters, and train masters need to communicate between themselves so yards aren't getting so full and other things aren't being backed up to where one person feels like overwhelmed and he can't do all the stuff in one yard.
yeah, because that's the one
And
thing that we're lacking right now is a chain of it's like that right there as you just explained, and a lack of voice.
there's a
I
reason.
also have to attest to that real quick, Masked.
Yeah,
Yes, we do have a problem with that. However, we don't have enough people to
yeah,
fully say, oh, we don't actually,
You guys
I
also
can't
have
remember how you said it.
to
yeah. Anyways,
it's
continue,
real,
Logan.
but like like West, like mine, West Virginia, like us. My dispatchers only do about half the work they're meant to do. Like I said, I'm changing that here soon. But the biggest thing is the stuff you guys that train crews don't see in the back.
Yeah. Um, Trying to figure out what. Foam, do you have anything else you want to add on top of that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. He kind of cut out for a second at the very end. I didn't hear what he said.
I couldn't hear a damn thing. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, this
I
is
was
all.
saying it nicer.
Well, this is all previously.
Yeah.
This is all being recorded and going to go up on my channel. I will post the link when this is done, so that way you can launch it. And he gone. All right. And
Nope,
welcome
I
back.
think he's back now.
Yeah. But I think we can all agree, and this is everyone, communication is the key to running a successful railroad. And I'm pretty sure everyone in here, including the people watching, can agree on that. So, let me check the chat real fast. See if anyone's saying anything. No. Okay, good. The main thing I feel like should also be addressed is the when the server goes up. I will, for the server going up, I will be hosting a poll. If a majority of the people that are in the server say yes, they will be around, I'm going to expect them to be around. Now, if you have to go or something like that, please let me know and just not show up out of the blue. But if a majority of people vote no, the server is not going up on that day at all. Now, we're not going to be a server that's going to be up on every other day, every day of the week, because we have our own personal lives and we have stuff that we want to do. Like Foam said earlier, he hasn't been on because he's been doing with other stuff in his life. I get that. I'm not holding people like I don't want to say I'm holding people accountable for to show up. But if, like you say, you're gonna be on and you're not gonna be on, then I get a little upset because then it's like, all right, then why the heck did I put the server up? Type of thing. And so as of right now, Ash controls Whittier. Foam, you're controlling the Bryson freight once I get that reactivated. My next thing for and I want this to be a vote right now. Baker, you said you like running passenger trains, right?
Mm-hmm.
How would and this is a vote right now. Vote right now the for Foam and Nathan. How would you feel if Baker oversees the passenger operations?
I don't really care. It's up to whoever wants to do whatever.
I'll say this: I do when I am online. Most of the time, I try my best to keep running the express train, the express passenger.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it would be really nice if we had somebody that could, because we do need crews. We need people that are willing to actually run the passengers. It would actually be kind of nice to have somebody else
That's
running
what
a
I do.
passenger train.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. I'm gonna ride along with you for a couple runs. If you run it well, and on top of that, when it comes to track speed, you don't have to go track speed. Just
I
if you
never do.
know, I was about to
I
say,
know the
if you
track
know,
so well, I don't even go track speed unless it's
yeah,
posted.
correct. Well, here's the thing. I don't post track speed. If you make it to the next place on time, you make it to the next place on time. But when we do get like waypoints and stuff, if you're behind time, by all means, speed. But honestly, if you're on time with all of your stuff, just you can do a little bit faster than the speed limit. But do your best to stay on time, even if that means you have to wait on your you know, if you have to wait your station a little bit longer. Try your best to stay on the time. Anyway,
time or a
Baker,
little
in
bit
that
early.
case, me and you, me and you might have to go and start working on the passenger service. Is the server up, by the way?
It is not up. I'm going to put it up after this meeting.
Yeah, I
Okay.
need the mods too.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
also need the mods because I don't have them because they updated them and I didn't know they updated them
Yeah, there's some.
until recently.
Yeah, there's some updates. I really don't know how to update
Yeah.
all of them. Like lickety split click.
Let me.
Otherwise,
One
I would say
second.
that like you're the modding expert, so. But anyways,
Why
Can I?
is... I'm still.
Go ahead, Logan.
Stupid.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What did I miss?
We're basically
Uh,
just the only thing that you missed was taking a vote for Baker to oversee the passenger service. That's the only thing you missed.
Okay.
All right. But
oh,
anyways,
by the way, Baker, I'm gonna say this. Right. My plan was to find somebody to run Bryson anyway, because I like doing passenger. I'm not a horribly big fan of doing freight work. Passenger's more fun to me, right?
Mhm.
If we can find another person to do Bryson, me and Baker can operate all of our passenger trains. Because the plan is to have more passenger trains. We just have to, well,
Eventually.
get more, yeah, eventually.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is to kind of actually have like a passenger terminal set up where
Yeah.
our bigger areas, like for example, I'm tempted to get another express train, but not actually run it. The idea is that we have those cars sitting around for if something happens to these original cars.
That
Like
reminds me of
maintenance.
yeah, maintenance, and
So
that's
that we,
another thing that I
yeah, so
wanted.
all we have to do is put stuff aside. Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what I do. And Code, I know you haven't been on the West Virginia Southern in a long ass time because I know
And I
you play with
apologize for that.
not like I don't care. Like everyone in here knows that. I don't care. I know you play with mods and I know it's hard to get switched back and forth.
A little bit.
But like Math can contest to this and like I don't know who else is in here, I think. I know
And
Baker's in here.
yeah, he just recently joined
Oh, by the
passenger
way,
service.
for the ones that need the update on Unity Mod Manager, go to the one that needs, like, where you see status and it says it needs an update or something like that. Click it once with the left click, and then right click it, and then you should be able to see update to blah blah blah. Or if you've already done it, you should see revert to blah blah blah. Right?
But
So
like
update those.
Yeah. Anyways.
but like on my railroad, I've got three cuts of passenger cars. I've got two mainline passengers and then a third cut that's always in maintenance. Code. So if you want to run with that information, you can, and it works
Do
very
we have
well.
any good mod packs for passenger, like passenger storage, for example? Because I don't want to leave them in the store, like not the storage track. What am I looking for here?
The repair truck.
Yeah, I don't want to leave them on the repair track.
See,
That's what it's taking up space.
Yeah.
what I do is because my maintenance yard is Bryson for my passengers.
Yeah.
Is track 4 in Bryson will fit a Santa Fe and 7 passenger cars
Okay.
perfectly. And whenever it's done out of maintenance, it never sits there for more than 24 in-game hours. Because as soon as the next one that comes through, that's the lowest, it gets immediately switched out because there's a
Yep.
turntable in Bryson. So all you have to do is turn the locomotive to whichever way it's facing and be done with it. Because I've got
See,
2 observation cars
yeah.
on mine.
My end game goal for the passenger service on our railroad, right? My end game goal is that after to actually have a roster of steam locomotives or just passenger locomotives we're using anyway. My
Like,
hope is that in the real railroad, you would run that locomotive once or twice, if that. Well, once more likely, and then you take it in for just back shop work. For example, the express train, once it gets back to Bryson, my hope, especially by the way, once we start heading towards like Alarka and stuff like that, my hope is from Bryson to Silva and back, that locomotive has to go to the roundhouse. That's where I'd like to be able to actually have extra locomotives. For example, another passenger locomotive that can get fired up, and while, for example, the locomotives that are heading out of Whittier into Ella, when it stops at Ella to get more passengers, this is for any train in particular, um, we start getting a locomotive set up on the ready track, right? It's facing
yeah.
the correct direction, blah, blah, blah. All you have to do is just basically sit there and wait for the passenger train to get to you. They'll switch out locomotives, and you head out. Obviously, with locomotives that have not locomotives, with trains that have observation cars, that's a little bit harder to do. But yeah,
I,
that's one thing. I'm not the kind of person that enjoys having an observation coach at both sides of the train. What would be a fast way for well, you know what we could do? I want to have a switcher in Bryson, right, where when the locomotives enter, right? Why am I even thinking about that? We'll be getting a mod for a loop in Bryson anyway. What am I
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
I was getting ready to say, if you're getting a mod for the loop in Bryson, I don't see a reason for you to get that
I
anyway.
wasn't I wasn't even thinking about it.
Well, we're still
But
going to need a
anyhow,
switcher for
yeah.
Bryson anyway to handle the freight service.
Yeah.
But like,
Well, yeah.
this is just the way I do things in the unmodded server. I plan on doing a lot of things differently in the modded server. And the great thing about it is the mods will help people do certain tasks, but it also can be overcomplicated very, very quickly.
Yeah. That's where you have to sit down and you have to really okay, how many cars is this place actually going to be taking, right?
Correct.
What is a smart way of going about this?
Like,
Right? For
and
example, the sugar mill, right
yeah,
off the bat, full interchange.
yep,
That's where once you get those cars, just that's why you need more people in Bryson, not Bryson and Whittier. We honestly, I think, because we do have 2 yards in Whittier, we need at least 2 people running steam or diesel locomotives doing shunting out there, and on top of that, we need them to start building trains so they can get heading out if
Yeah.
they're cars that head out.
Now, question: do you have the Silva mod pack for
Which
Silva
one?
Interchange?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
Now,
latest interchange that we got, we received 117 cars, most mainly for Kirkland.
Yep.
Matt,
And we
send
do
me
have
that.
hump yards, so build them there.
Yeah.
Send me code. I want to have you help me do all my, all the modding stuff real quick, because I want to help you all out tonight, and I'll take care of whatever you guys need me to take care of, and I'm very quick of what I do.
Okay.
All right.
So
I'm the kind of person that prefers to be able to actually get people to do the hump yard. By the
I
way,
like doing the hump yard.
hump yard's fun.
Mm-hmm.
The hump yard's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. But the thing is with Silva is that a lot of it needs to be built.
I can
By
do
the
that
way,
very.
I would
But,
get the mod folder from Masked, and
well, I
I'll
need help
send in the group chat
downloading.
quick.
I need help downloading Unity and Railroader and stuff like that.
Well, I'm gonna send that stuff to you anyway.
Okay. I want to take my hoodie off and
That's
stuff like that. Give me a sec.
that's what I'm gonna send you through right now. Here you go.
All right.
Go
So
ahead and download it through the Railroad mainline chat. It's just click on the chat emblem at the bottom, or at the side of Railroad mainline.
yeah.
Click the open chat button, and then it should be there. Railroader.exe is there. And then you need strange customs. So let me go to my mods.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay. Um, did you send me something or not yet?
I'm just gonna send it through message. Makes it easy.
Okay.
Yeah, post it in the railroader mod channel thing.
That
Give me,
wouldn't be a bad idea, huh?
Yeah.
Give me a second. Go ahead and put that. Okay, that works. Mods channel. Do we have a mods channel sitting around?
Yeah. Yeah,
Where's it at?
it's
I
right
see it.
under
Never mind.
it's right under music.
Okay. There, in the Railroader modding channel, I went ahead and threw in the rail loader that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Good. By the way, as it updates, if I'm not here, if somebody finds the new rail loader, for the love of God, if you have it, post it and then delete the old one, so that we don't have a clusterfuck of stuff just dropping itself in here. If you have a new mods folder, if you have the new updated mods folder, of course, this is me talking as if somebody else is doing it, right? Delete the original one. His voice cracked so hard, that was depressing. Delete the original one and put the new one in,
Mm-hmm.
so that we don't have a cluster of,
okay.
hey,
I want to share
scary.
my screen with you.
All right. But anyways, I think that kind of like concludes this meeting for today at least. Does anyone
Yep.
else have a question that they want to bring up or anything?
Just need the mod folder. That's it. Then I'll be on with you.
All right.
Cause